negative feelings around. Everyone is so low who knows these people. You can't offer any hope to them or their families, and the community becomes deadened by this kind of thing, and then eventually it meets in your own community, and people are taken away that you know, and you'll feel badly someday that you didn't act. If you say, how did it happen in Germany, just go in your mirror and take a good look at yourself and say that they're no different in Germany than they are in the United States or in Carmel, California, or in Santa Cruz, or wherever my voice is heard. You're no different than they were there if you're not doing anything, because there's so much to be done, and you've got to start doing something. I read a book review. It's a book called The Plot to Seize the White House, published by Hawthorne Book, and it's going to be coming out 1973, this year, I guess in the fall, by an author by the name of Archer is writing about it. And this is the story of General Smedley Butler, and it tells the plan in 1933 and 34 to take over the White House, to take control. It was the year when Hitler, right after Hitler got into power in 34, and Mussolini was going into power in Italy, and the Versailles Treaty had been broken, and the secret police and the army had rearmed Germany. This was the year that Whittaker Chambers met Alger Hiss, who was fighting the rearmament of Germany. And this is the story of an outstanding soldier who had 2 Congressional Medals of Honor and was awarded for heroism, who believed in America, the DuPonts, the Morgans, and a few wealthy bankers and financiers came to him, a man by the name of McGuire, who had $30 million, and was willing to invest half of it to save his other half, who believed that we should go like Italy. Franco was taking over Spain, Hitler was in Germany, and he believed that they should use Butler as the front, because he was such a distinguished soldier, as a front to a military takeover in the United States. And the plan was to use Butler and have him use the veterans organizations. And I use that now because I think of the prisoner of war and the 1976 slogan that was going to be so popular with taking over the United States, and the playing up of the Vietnamese war, the heroes being the prisoners of war and everybody else forgotten. They're getting double bonuses and early retirement, and the other GIs getting practically nothing. And I'm watching, like Richard Nixon, speaking to the veterans of the foreign wars down in New Orleans, one of his rare public speeches at the Veteran of Foreign Wars. And the same people that put Hitler into power, some of them are still around, and their influence is around. In the White House, where I'm reading also the book The Secret Team by Prouty on the operations of this team to influence White House decisions, and State Department appointments, and with George Bundy, and the whole team that took over the Vietnamese War and the killing of Kennedy and Diem. And the framework from the 30s is still very much operating. All these operatives aren't dead, unfortunately. Their way of thinking isn't dead. And they went to J. Edgar Hoover, and they wanted Hoover to order General Douglas MacArthur to use this bogus army, this Veterans of Foreign Wars before. And they were going to get Roosevelt. The idea was to get at Roosevelt and put him in because he was weak and sick, and, he'd been paralyzed from polio. And then get second in command under him. And Gerald McGuire was the man who would work the American Legion up and was offering hundreds of thousands of dollars to Mr. Butler, who went along with the plan and got a friend to listen to it. And then he took it to a congressional committee on February the 15th, 1935, before the McCormick-Dixon Committee in Congress, and brought out the fascist organization plan for the takeover of this country. And what happened? The press buried the plot story. The Department of Justice prosecuted no person. And the high crimes were written off. They could have been prosecuted. The Civil Liberties Union said that these people could have been brought to court, but everything was hushed up. I may go back to this next week and give you more details, because it's fascinating to break down the chain of command and certain names that were involved in this, and how they've continuously wanted to force a police state in this country, and how this plan is actually in operation since the Watergate. As the front men were removed from office, we have our top team operating right in the White House now, with General Haig commanding the president. Well, I see our time is up, and I'll see you next week. And I hope I can be more cheerful next week. Every time I say that, it gets worse. Okay, take it away, Dave.